Hello and welcome again to Hockey Zone. What's it like to be a goalkeeper? Let's find out from one of Australia's best, Audrey Smith.
I think the thing that sets goalkeepers apart is that they can control the outcome and the final score of a game. So it definitely takes a certain control freak to be a goalkeeper, and also definitely takes a lot of courage. I played hockey on the field for my school team in the Brisbane competition for 2 years in under 11s, and then we were losing a game 5-0, and at halftime I told my best friend at the time, who was the goalkeeper for our team, I said, look, I'm going to set this straight, I want to get in the net, no more goals, let's go. So yeah, that was it. That was the first time I played goalie, and I've loved it ever since. So I played hockey on grass as a goalkeeper for a couple of years. And then because of the relationship with Moreton Bay College, my school, and my teacher and the Bulimba Hockey Club, I ended up getting the opportunity to play for one game for the Bulimba senior hockey team in Div 5, and I loved it. So literally the following week, the Division 1 goalie for Bulimba changed clubs. So that meant that all the goalkeepers moved up a rank. So I became from Div 5 goalie to the Div 4 goalie within a week. So it was a pretty big step up for me, but that's what it's like to be a goalkeeper because there's only one in the team. So when an opportunity like that comes along, it doesn't come along often, so you've got to take it. But I was quite fortunate that that happened early because it is quite difficult, especially in such a condensed environment like Brisbane, where there is a lot of good goalkeepers in the competition. To get that opportunity early was really, really fortunate for me. And then, so the next year later, I tried out for Bulimba again, and I got named in the Div 2 side. So that was really good as well because when the Div 1 goalie was away, I was able to fill in and play Div 1 for Bulimba, and there's some of my fondest memories playing for Bulimba in Div 1 because as a little kid, like, it's so exciting to fill up for the Div 1 women's senior hockey team. So yeah, I really enjoyed that time in my life. Around about that time, I was representing the under 18 Queensland team. But because of the high quality goalkeepers in Brisbane, it was hard to get that big break and actually show what I was capable of in terms of goalkeeping. So my big break actually came from when I represented the Northern Territory at the under 21s 2 years later in Canberra. And at that time, the NT goalie was nationally identified, but she was injured at the time. So I got a lot of game time at that tournament, and it really showed everyone back home in Queensland what I was capable of, and that's when I got selected in the Queensland Academy of Sport. As I've said before, the journey of a goalkeeper is a very complicated one, and my story definitely personifies that. Playing for NT was a great opportunity because I then got selected into the Australian Future Squad, and which then led me into getting selected into the QAS squad as well. But as goalkeeping is such a cutthroat world and there's only one spot on the field, one position for a goalkeeper, it is really tough. And living in Brisbane definitely makes it a lot tougher because it is that congested pool of really talented players. You've really got to push yourself and drive yourself to be that number one player. And as yet, I've never actually had the opportunity to play for the Open Brisbane team. So I was lucky enough last year to get an AIS scholarship and moved over to Perth and was able to play with the Australian hockey team every day and every week. So it was really great. And I also did a bit of work for my sponsors, Maison and Just Hockey over there as well. I got selected in the Hockey Roos team to play a test series against Argentina, and the first game being Aymar's 300th game. So standing out there singing the national anthem, playing against one of the international hockey superstars was such a great experience, and I'll always remember it. Definitely one of my highlights was the AHL Grand Final last year. It was a tough game against WA, and it was 0-0 for the whole game, and then it went to one-on-ones at the end. And of course we had a pretty big star lineup with Madonna Blythe, Jodie Schultz, but Jodie missed her stroke, so it was a bit tense, and then Madonna was after that and she missed hers as well. But luckily I was able to save 4 one-on-ones in a row and we scored 2, so we ended up winning, and it was a great feeling. All the girls ran in after I saved the last one and we all jumped up and cheered, and yeah, it was great. Did a big Queenslander at the end. Yeah, it was so good to just pass the cup along, like the big trophy that we won at the end. Just finally, after 8 years of Queensland just missing out, either losing in the semis or losing in the final, and being able to bring home the gold for Queensland, it was such a great feeling. And yeah, the girls had a great time afterwards. So that's the second shootout I've been involved in, and it's, from a goalie's perspective, it's about a 50-50 chance, I think, when the player's running in. But it does take a bit of tactic and a bit of strategy to win, and it definitely takes a lot of skill and agility as well. I think definitely changing up the way you come out and meet the player definitely puts them off guard, especially if a player is running into the circle and has a certain idea that they're going to do, that they're going to run in and shoot, or they're going to run to one side. So if you change up the way you run out, it definitely puts them off guard and gives you that extra second to sort of delay them a bit, because there's only 8 seconds to score, so time is on the goalie's side. So if you do everything you can to slow them down, the better chance you have of winning the one-on-ones. What I love about being a goalkeeper is definitely how much you can influence the outcome of a game, and that really makes a big impact on your role in the team. The role as a goalkeeper has definitely changed over the years. Like, it used to be a position just for the slightly injured players that can't run around on the field anymore, the slower players, but now it's definitely changed and become a role where you're expected to be an elite athlete, and you're meant to train at a certain level and have certain physical requirements so you can perform the task to the best of your ability. And goalkeeping has really improved over the years because of that. People are pushing themselves. Goalies are going to the gym 3 times a week just to improve their performance on the pitch, and it really helps, especially with the one-on-ones. So some of the core skills for being a goalkeeper would definitely be having a good reaction time, being really agile, and just being fully aware of what's around you and your surroundings and never being surprised. My advice to younger goalkeepers would be always be reading the play, always know what's ahead of you, and also to stay in the moment. It doesn't matter if you just did a completely amazing save or if you just let an absolute shocker in. You've got to always be watching, waiting for that next shot and that next opportunity to save the ball. So if you do get an opportunity to throw on the pads and get out there and have a go as a goalkeeper, I definitely recommend it, because I started off just coming in for a second half of hockey and absolutely loving it, and then I went on to represent Australia. So it's definitely worth giving it a go and having a go as a goalkeeper.